Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Welcome, everyone, to Game Over Cup Final after a wild Game 4. I'm Peter Klein. He's Andrew Berkshire. He's Auddie James. And this is going to be a whole lot of fun breaking it all down. Before we get to our expert analysis, I do have to let you know that you can get in on Stanley Cup Finals action. Lightning versus Avalanche at Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook. Bet before the game starts, live in play, or one of our many prop bets. Doing it right since 1997, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That is sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 years and older, please play responsibly. We may not have many more of those to read as the Colorado Avalanche take a stranglehold on the Stanley Cup Final 3-1 series lead. Andrew, this one will go down as one of the Patrick Kane style, oh, damn, it's in the net. Maybe not the overtime winner that Nazem Kadri would dream of, but he'll certainly take it on this night.
I mean, first game back, right? It's I feel like I'm on my first game back. I know I've been I told you guys that I've been suffering the last 5 days. My voice is still a little bit scratchy, but I can talk now. The last show that I did I was suffering to get through with my buddy Mark, and this one, it feels good. I called Nazem Kadri scoring tonight, so I'm very happy about that. I said it'd be a great story too if he scored the winner, but man, how high on life is Nazem Kadri right now?
Oh, unreal, right? To battle back, even just to be out there skating and participating in such a big game would have to just get you on cloud nine, Auddie, but to be able to cap it off with that winner. And as soon as it was David Amber on the panel who made the prediction, as soon as he made that, I was like, oh, well, that's how this game is ending. Of course it is. And it just, the storybook is complete with Kadri finishing it off tonight.
Oh, absolutely. It almost seemed like he saved his best shift of the game for the last shift of the game. As you know, I don't think he was spectacular, and I guess that's to be expected. I mean, he's coming back from surgery. When was that? June 6th, I think they said he had surgery. So pretty tight turnaround for something, as important as your hand in the game of hockey, for a guy who likes to shoot the puck. But yeah, what a storybook finish to that game. And I texted the group chat. I'm like, was that in? Should I go get ready, or are we coming back? Right. I wasn't sure. I didn't know where. I thought it was under Vasilevsky. I just didn't see what happened. But hell of a shot, and what a way to finish it. I'm pumped for him. I know a lot of the Eastern Canada SDPN people will be happy for him as well. But yeah, I'm over the moon for him, and I can only imagine what he's feeling in this post game.
Oh yeah, it has to be. I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, I can't imagine playing a Stanley Cup final. Yeah. I can't imagine playing beer league with a broken thumb. So to be out there in that situation and with him doing that, and like you said, Auddie, I didn't think he was spectacular, but I thought he was good enough for the role that he needed. This was definitely a game, Andrew, and definitely correct me if you think I'm wrong. This was one where, we talk about depth guys a lot. I thought the stars were shining bright in this game. Vasilevsky was incredible. McKinnon was great. Stamkos is blocking everything. Kucherov had a hand in everything. Hedman apparently went Michael Jordan and took that Norris Trophy vote personally because he was great. Makar was great. It felt like this was a night, aside from the Kadri goal, where this was about the stars showing up here.
No, I agree with you. It was a great night for so many players, and I'm glad you brought up Stamkos because he was a guy. He really, as the captain of the Lightning, exemplified why they are the team that they are. Right. It's not a do or die game, but it's a incredibly important game, and he's out there every shift, seemingly putting his body on the line. And I've never seen a team that looks so exhausted continue to put every possible bit of effort that they can to scrape out a chance to win a game like this Lightning team does. That competitive personality, that identity that they have, aside from all of the skill, is a huge part from why they're so successful and continue to be able to do this 3 years into, compressed seasons, pandemic playoffs, no off season basically for these guys for the last 2 years. It's incredible that they're here at all. The fact that they're actually keeping pace with the Avalanche, that first period, I thought the Avalanche actually played really, really well, but everything they did, the Lightning had a match for it defensively, and the Avalanche could not get through at all. Yeah. I think they finished with 4 shots in the first period, and it felt like they should have had 20.
Yeah. It felt like they were playing against 8 guys out there. Like it felt like once they got into the zone, it was one of those like where they kind of do play around with the video editing, and they just like, okay, well now this guy's going to go here, here, and here, and they just put like 80 guys out there. That's kind of what it felt like they were doing, Auddie. And at one point, like I'm not the biggest shot blocking guy. There was Andrew, I don't know how much of this made it out east, but there was a great Chris Russell debate out here for many years, with one half being, yeah, shot blocking is excellent, and then people who know math and those types of things are like, oh, it's stupid. And I tend to be more on the oh, it's stupid side. But at some point you had to just let that go and think, okay, this is really damn impressive what Tampa Bay is doing. And like you said, like heart, warrior, all those things that people like to bring up this time of year, Auddie, that was shining through with bells on for Tampa Bay.
Absolutely. Everybody likes to, and rightfully so, give Vasilevsky the credit. He stood on his head tonight. But in the first, I think like 35 minutes of this game, you know, nothing was getting through. Like it was a pretty easy night, you know, aside from any, there were a couple pretty good chances, but like they were blocking everything. They were keeping everything to the outside. I can't remember the exact time of offensive zone possession time. I think it was, they showed a graphic, but it was in the latter part of the first period, and the Avs were dominating them. But on the shot clock, it was like 16-3 or something. So it was pretty indicative of just how well that the Lightning, like Andrew mentioned, just kind of put everything into it and will do whatever they can to scrape out a win. And, you know, thinking about, this is the team that's played the most hockey out of any team in the past 3 seasons, just to see, you know, fatigue maybe creeping in, but they're still putting everything on the line to try to scrape these wins out. And it's damn impressive. We haven't seen something like this in a long time.
This is like a team of, do you guys remember the movie Goon?
Oh, yeah.
The penultimate scene, Doug Glatt blocks a shot with his teeth. I feel like every player on the Lightning would do that.
Yeah, I feel like they did do that.
Yeah,
pretty damn close.
There was a lot of life imitating art in this one. There was a couple of them. There was one, Eric Johnson had a look and Stamkos dove and blocked it. I was like, I understand. Like you're diving in front of everything you can. You have the best goalie in the world behind you. There's a couple. I'm gonna take my chances with Vasilevsky on Eric Johnson. There's a couple you can maybe let go by.
Definitely true. I mean, shot blocking overall is not the most effective strategy, but it's almost like the momentum of everybody being that committed is what drives it more than like the individual shot blocks, right? I feel like there are good shot blocks and bad shot blocks as well, and like there are also times where blocking a non-dangerous shot creates a more dangerous rebound, which is something that like has been studied but needs more study, like to be conclusive. That I think shot blocking is overall not a great idea, but I do love just the commitment to being destroyed bodily to eke out one extra goal here or there to come back over the course of the series. But I do have to say, I am sorry to the Tampa Bay Lightning fans because it's over, because the next game is on June 26th, which I was born out in Western Canada, Saskatchewan, moved to Alberta when I was 11, but I came out to Quebec when I was 18. And for those of you in Western Canada who don't know, June 26th is Jean-Baptiste Day in Quebec. And Artturi Lehkonen, very famously, sent the Montreal Canadiens to the Stanley Cup final last year in overtime in Game 6. You know, it's lining up.
It lines up. Yeah,
He's already sent Colorado to the Stanley Cup final, in the conference final, in overtime. He's going to do it again. The magic is there. Artturi Lehkonen is going to win the Stanley Cup. It's the same situation as what happened with Lars Eller when the Canadiens traded him away and he was never appreciated. Artturi Lehkonen, not appreciated enough in Montreal. Lars Eller scores the Stanley Cup winning goal. Artturi Lehkonen will score the Stanley Cup winning goal on Jean-Baptiste Day, and I hope that Montrealers celebrate with them because I have nothing but respect and admiration for Artturi Lehkonen. He's going to do it. This is my call, and if I'm wrong, you can make fun of me. I don't care.
It is interesting how it's like, going into this overtime, because I picked Lehkonen for my overtime winner, because why the hell wouldn't I? But it was like two different narratives like fighting each other. Auddie, I saw you tweeted about the Kenobi finale. It's like two lightsabers like going like fighting against each other. It's the underappreciated Leaf of Nazem Kadri, the underappreciated half of Lehkonen. Which narrative was going to win out to win this game?
You could almost even throw in Nichushkin too, with
yes.
kind of like, and
just
that's who I picked.
Underappreciated NHL player.
I picked Nichushkin, the guy, a guy who didn't have a great start of his career in Dallas and ends up going to play in the KHL, then all of a sudden comes back and, he's making a star out of himself in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, it could have been, you could have gone three ways and it would have been just as damn impressive, because he had a hell of an overtime too.
Mm-hmm.
My God, it seemed like every time he had the puck, he was either creating a chance or he was trucking through three Tampa Bay Lightning to force his way to the net. It was incredible.
It felt like he didn't take a shift off.
Yeah, he's been like that. He's been a truck.
Yeah,
just an absolute force. It's been fun to watch.
Did you guys see the quote that came out? I think it was like it might have been a Russo article on The Athletic, and it was interviewing a nameless NHL coach talking about how when Nichushkin was in Dallas, when he wasn't scoring, he just sucked. And it's like, based on everything that we have, like data and analytics, it's like that's very much not true. It's like all these coaches, like you'd think you would know when to shut up.
Yeah.
Because they're all like 70-year-old geezers that just don't care about it. Anyway, it's a completely different.
Man, I'm not going to take much on this, but we did a segment at my last job about like what players can't you quit, and this was during the no goals, no penalty minutes, no nothing. Like, just to quote Sam Mitchell, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 for Nichushkin, and I was like, I can't quit this guy. And they spent the next 20 minutes ripping me apart for not being able to quit. And maybe it took a couple different countries, but we finally got there. With Nichushkin. I do want to get to the chat because I'm sure there's a lot of good ones in there. But just quickly, like we jokingly said that this is over. It has a bit of an overish feel to it now, though, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah, I look, coming into this game 4, it was going to be the difference of, for Tampa's sake, either making this a best of 3 or win or go home. And obviously they wanted to take the first option there, but it was a hard fought game, and I just don't think that going back to Ball Arena and seeing how well they played in the first 2 games at home, I just don't see this one, going any other way for Tampa other than it, resulting in a 4-1 series loss and Colorado hoisting the cup at home. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to say I made a mistake. I was saying June 26th. That's just, I had that in my head because I'm hosting this game 6. I'm not, it's Harnish and Armaan.
I was going to say it's Friday, 5. Right?
Yeah, so June 24th is Jean-Baptiste, not June 26th. My bad. I apologize. But, I'm bringing the Montreal vibes from last year's finals. I've got Jeff Petrie's eyes, bringing Arturi Lehkonen's vibes. Arturi Lehkonen's revenge on the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, I think it's going to be over in 5. I wish it would be a slightly longer series just because I'm loving this.
Mm-hmm.
They're two just amazing teams. Like, the entire time I'm watching this, all I can think of, I'm not even doing good analysis. I'm just like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
These two teams are awesome.
Oh, yeah. They're like that. That's basically it. It's like, oh, that was great. Oh, that was great. All of my notes are basically all of that. Auddie, I was saying this with Andrew and Julian on the game 1, which, by the way, I've been blessed. I've got the 2 best games of the series on this thing so far. That's been amazing.
You have.
But I was saying, like, this is, maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but this is setting a new standard for the sport. Like, I just feel like if you look at every other team, and the team that you and I cover on Game Over Calgary, boy, they got a long way to go, but so does everyone else. Like, I'm watching the series and it's just like, man, these 2 teams, I feel like, are so far ahead of basically everyone else in the National Hockey League. And this is the new way you're going to have to play if you're going to be successful in this league.
No one else is at this level. It's just a fact. Leaf fans will say that they're at that level for taking Tampa to 7. We're not even going to go there. We're not even going to go there. I already know that someone in the chat will scroll through and just because of that, someone will say it. But you look at the West, like, who else is at, and like, nobody else is as good as obviously Colorado right now, but like, nobody else is at that level. And like you said, it's setting the new standard. That's the way, you're going to have to win championships, and the way you're going to have to go on a deep playoff run is kind of, it comes down to the way you construct the team and pretty much how you deploy it. So lots of notes probably being taken across the league in terms of executives and all that stuff, because this is the way you build championships and or build championship teams. So yeah, the standard has been set. Needless
you guys are very optimistic, because what's actually being said around executive offices right now is we need to find the next Darren Helm.
Yes.
Nick
Medicine
Paul
Hat Tigers legend.
Yeah, it's Nick Paul is who's made the Tampa Bay Lightning get back to the Cup final again.
Yeah.
I mean, not actually incorrect, because he's the one who defeated the Leafs in the first round, but like the way that executives think in this league, I think, is not as highly as we think,
Yeah.
You hear like Ken Holland after the Oilers get eliminated, and you'd think that with McDavid having a career year, having a playoffs that we haven't seen since like Mario Lemieux's prime, that you'd be a little bit disappointed that you got swept, right? And you're like, yeah, this is good that we got to the third round, but this team should be a cup contender every single year. And we have to instead rely on 40-year-old Mike Smith. And they're like, no, we're happy, except for Puljujärvi. And it's like, what? This is the kind of brain that we're dealing with for most of the teams around. So I think we'll see a lot more teams being like, the only way to beat the Colorado Avalanche is to beat them up, and like trying to figure out ways to stop these teams from being so skilled. I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
How'd that work for Calgary?
Yeah.
How'd that work for Calgary?
Yeah, I was saying in game one, like, could you imagine like watching this and going, oh man, I can't wait to pay Eric Goodbranson like that. That's just it doesn't seem to matter. But there's going to be someone like, oh yeah, Tampa Bay was having all their success when they were blocking all those shots. Like Chris Russell made an extra $750,000 on this game. Auddie, I've seen you chuckle a couple of times. I know I'm hilarious, but I'm assuming there's a few good things in the chat as well.
There's some good ones. Yeah. Just to bring it back to Leafland again, someone saying, Taylor Sims saying, Kadri is going to win a cup before the Leafs win a playoff series, which I've never really thought of. But yeah, I mean,
Kadri, Bozak, Kessel, like
there's I know. Well, I have it's funny you say that. I have a tweet. I have a tweet in my drafts about Kessel, Bozak, Kadri. There was someone else. Oh, geez. Anyway, all winning a Stanley Cup. How many of
the Randy Carlyle Leafs will get Stanley Cup rings before the Dubas Leafs?
Yeah, Carlisle's just there like, I was right.
I told you.
We have the right guys.
Robert, please clip this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell Steve about it tomorrow.
Oh, geez. Honestly, majority of them is just Kadri for Kerfoot and Barrie, Kadri and Rosen for Kerfoot and Barrie. Dubas should trade for Kadri. It's just a lot of Kadri talk. That's why I've been laughing so much here. But yeah, it's a lot of people saying exciting finish and comeback by Kadri. Yeah, it's a lot of just Kadri praise, and one Darren Helm is the greatest of all time.
Well, I'm going to agree to disagree on the Darren Helm thing. I will say though, as much as Kadri didn't look like himself, and I'm guessing, I haven't really checked usage or anything, but I'm guessing that he was used pretty carefully by the Avalanche, even though it was a road game. He actually led the entire Avalanche team in expected goals for percentage.
Wow.
Yeah. 77.4% while he was on the ice.
Huh.
Incredible.
And the goal he scored wasn't even expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But like, he was incredible tonight. He massive respect for him to come back and throw out an effort like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I don't want to, again, all due respect to the label that pays, but I just can't imagine thinking that he is part of a problem with an organized. Not that people thought he was super problematic when Toronto traded him, but it's just, he just screams type of player that you win with. And we're coming up on a free agency, and this dude is going to get paid. Yep. Oh, he is going to make so much money coming off of him and Nichushkin. Like we're talking a couple of commas coming off of this one.
100%. And for Kadri, I'm glad for him. I hope it's a perfect situation for him because he's coming off of a ridiculously underpaying contract. He's having the best year of his career. He's most likely going to win the Stanley Cup, and then he can leave and go wherever in the league he wants because he's got his Stanley Cup and make the most possible money. Yeah, that's the best year of his life.
Yeah, go sign your 3 at 9 in Detroit. Go for it. Like, just have yourself a time. But one thing I do like, while maybe the numbers suggest a little bit more than what our eyes were telling us, Auddie, one thing that I think Kadri with Colorado allowed them to do in this game, and it's something I've chatted with a former colleague of mine, Peter Labardius, about, it allowed the Avalanche to slot better, like just with Kadri in the lineup, the rest of their lineup sheet just looks how it's supposed to. I know that's not the most analytical way of saying things, but it's just like with Kadri there, then all of a sudden, like, Lekkonen's in a spot where Lekkonen should be in, and Comfer's in a spot where Comfer should be in. Like, on down the line, everyone is kind of where they're supposed to be. It just allows Kadri, whether he's effective or not, allows this team to really set in the way I think they're supposed to.
It's the Thanos lineup, man. Balanced the way everything should be, right? But that said too, I don't really think that, like, I don't think anybody looked too far out of place when he wasn't in the lineup. Maybe that was just me. But that's, good teams find a way to win when players are out of the lineup, like a guy as significant as Kadri's been. But yeah, you're right. When he's in obviously you want a guy like that in the lineup more than you want him out of the lineup. But like you mentioned, it just, you're right. Everything just seemed to fit. And it was more so, I think, balance across all the lines, and they were able to deploy a much more complete roster. I think you could say complete and balanced are the two words I would use.
Yeah. It's like the Peter principle, right? Where you get promoted beyond your capabilities. It's good to have a next man up mentality, but when you have the guy who's supposed to be there back, everybody's situated into the right role. Everything's a little bit easier. Matchups are better. Makes everything better. It's the same as like having Point back with the Lightning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not 100%, but when he's in the lineup, everybody gets to play in the proper spot. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Braden Point plays the next game. I think that there's I don't know how injured he is. Probably extremely injured to be missing these games. But right? They're probably going to shoot him up with everything they have and just be like, go out there, buddy.
But is it more of a risk, like,
to his career?
Having him in, to his career, yeah. But I mean, even if he's as severely injured as, everybody's seeming to make him out to be, is it a detriment to have a guy like that in the lineup? Like, do you just
at this
roll
point,
it back
like what other?
I guess what else?
Have?
You're right. Yeah, you really don't have anything else to lose at this point. It's do or die. So
yeah, I don't want to be glib with a guy's career or anything like that, but it's like, A, you have the whole off season, and B, like, if he does get hurt extra or whatever, it's not like they haven't gone through a full regular season without one of their star players before. Like, it's kind of they kind of wrote the playbook on that, and so I just think at this point, like, unless it is like a really you can't go, I would be surprised if we don't see Point at some point, even in just like a Zdeno Chara, he's just sitting on the bench the whole time type of a role. They need something, because as much as we're talking about how the series feels over, they can't feel that way. Although coming off a loss like this, it would be tough to not feel that way. Like, Vasilevsky was incredible. They were blocking everything. Everyone hurts. Everyone is sore. I thought that, like, they were one of they were the better team for some pretty good stretches in this. Colorado does start to take over, but man, like this has to be such a demoralizing loss.
Yeah, I mean, to have Vasilevsky play that well and not win it for him, it's got to be tough. And with how well the Lightning started off in this game, yeah, the fact that Colorado never had a lead, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough one to swallow, I'm sure, for Tampa. And, there was a comment in the chat saying that John Cooper sounded like tired and defeated in the post-game presser. I mean, how could he not be tired? How could everyone on that team not be tired? I think that's what makes them so impressive, is that they're still putting out these efforts when they should be exhausted beyond reason. I do want to give, like, Darcy Kemper a little props, because I've been on him most of these playoffs. I think he's been pretty much garbage, including this series, where coming into this game, he had a high danger save percentage below 50%. But he was good tonight. He had the one goal from Hedman that I think he should have stopped. But other than that, he was really solid. Made big saves at crucial times.
Yeah, he was excellent. I'm happy you brought that up, because after that Hedman goal, I think a lot of broadcasters around the world were getting their Francois pronunciations ready, because it felt like one more of those and Colorado's going to have to make a switch. But no, he buckled down, and he was great. Like, he was, I don't want to say matching Vasilevsky save for save, because Vasilevsky was otherworldly in this game, but he was everything that Colorado needed him to be in this game. And now any talk of a goalie controversy, I think is pretty well done now, unless something crazy happens here in the next few games. But no, I like looking at this now from a Tampa Bay perspective. I don't, aside from Point flies to Germany, gets some weird Kobe Bryant thing, and comes back. I don't know what Tampa Bay is able to do. Auddie, do you see an adjustment or anything that can be done to get Tampa Bay back in this series?
I don't know, because I don't think they played terrible tonight without Point in the lineup. They were getting shots through. They were maybe not as dominant possession wise. I don't know. From the eye test, it just didn't seem like that. I didn't see any numbers or any advanced stats or analytics or anything about that. I kind of just hopped right on here. But from the eye test, it sure seemed like they were being outplayed in the offensive zone for sure. I don't know. I don't know what you like. What do you change? What can you change? Yeah. You're not bringing in Brian Elliott for Vasilevsky. This guy's just trying to coast, get a cup late in his career. But no, I don't really know. I don't think there's much you can do if Point isn't in the lineup. Funny, just quickly on Point, there's a comment here. The game is in Denver. You don't really need to shoot up in Denver. Point will just take a very deep inhale, which I thought was a good comment. But yeah, I mean, if he's not in the lineup, I think you just run it back the same way you did and make some minor adjustments if that's even really what you need to do. I don't know.
The thing that's crazy to me, Andrew, and it just like Auddie referenced Thanos earlier, and the Colorado kind of feels inevitable at this point. Yeah. And the thing that's so wild is that Tampa Bay has taken away what I thought Colorado's best strength was, and that was kind of that quick up and down the ice transition game. There's none of that for Colorado. If they're getting any kind of rush, they're being forced to kind of curl up at the half wall and reset things. They're getting none of that, and they're still winning. Like the best thing that's the thing that they're best at, and they still are winning. It is crazy what Colorado has been able to do. I know this all sounds like a victory lap, but it kind of feels like that at this point.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this series, I love it, and I'm just getting like lost in thinking about things and
I know, right?
How great it is. I'm reading the stream chat as well, and they're talking like apparently John Cooper said that Connor's goal shouldn't have counted, and there's
offside.
There was controversy that it was offside, but like okay. Challenge it, John.
Yeah.
And this is something that I talked about during the game. I doubt it was offside or it was close enough that he wasn't confident to challenge it. My guess is this is something that the Lightning do very well, is that he's working the refs for the next game and the rest of the series.
Oh,
and that's something that the Lightning did all game tonight. Every whistle, Hedman was in their ear. Yeah. And
Stamkos
it's something that
too,
the Lightning, Stamkos all the time.
All over it.
I've never seen a team work the refs as hard as the Lightning do since like the early 2000s Red Wings, when it was like Lidstrom, Yzerman, Shanahan, all these vets, Maltby, Draper, and they just always in the ears. And that carried through into like the Datsuk Zetterberg Red Wings in the late 2000s as well. It works for them, and I feel like when you're back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, you get that respect from the refs. So we'll see maybe if they earn something out of that next game, but I really hate it. I really hate that kind of gamesmanship.
Man, and also, like, I don't know if the officials had a great night in this one, especially at the end. Like, I get the whole, they're just letting them play. Rules are a part of playing, though, like you can't just go out there with a trident and be like, oh, well, they're just letting the boys play. It's like, no, at some point there's rules here. This isn't the purge. Like you do have to at least have some form of law and order out there, for lack of a better term. I thought the refs had a pretty brutal night. So maybe they are trying to get a call. They need to avoid taking any, because that Colorado power play is like illegal in some countries. It's so good. They were. It's again, like, inevitable just feels like the word of the day. McKinnon's winding up for a blast, and then if that doesn't score, you have Rantanen and Landeskog and Lehkonen down low, and then by the way, Cale Makar, who just won the Norris Trophy and is probably going to win like 8 more of them in his lifetime. This team is stupid good. The fact that they haven't been to this point until now is just so mind-boggling. And like I think everything we've said about Tampa Bay, we gushed about them after game 1. We've been talking about the heart and the soul. And also, this team is really freaking talented too. And they just got nothing for Colorado. Like it is just unbelievable, guys, how good this Colorado team looks compared to the second best team in the National Hockey League.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think of immediately when you say that is, I can't remember the exact quote that Cale Makar said before this final series started. Something along the lines of, they're trying to build a dynasty and we're trying to start a legacy or something along those lines. But it was like super mature for him. First of all, what a great quote. But it almost feels like a, I don't know, maybe I'm just being dramatic because I'm dramatic as hell, but it feels like a passing of the torch almost. Like it's almost like this is now like Colorado is going to be the next Tampa, and they're going to go on and they're going to make all these cup final appearances and they're going to win these Stanley. It just kind of feels like that to me. And again, I'm Italian. I'm dramatic as hell. So this should come as no surprise there. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you get that kind of feeling too? Like, tell me I'm not crazy is what I'm trying to get you to say.
I don't think Tampa Bay's competitive window is over, but I do think they would be much better off if they had lost in the first round this year and come back next year. I think they really need some time off to heal a little bit. Like you look at the last couple of years, how many big time injuries they've had to deal with on these cup runs, like how long Braden Point's been out this year, how many games Point and Kucherov missed during the regular season. They need to heal up. I will say also, Corey Perry losing in 5 games in the Stanley Cup final again. It's funny. But I can't
wait for the inevitable signing in Colorado in July.
I love. Well, he signed a 2-year contract in Tampa, right?
Did he?
That's part of why he signed there. But as much as I love the Corey Perry jokes on hockey Twitter, I always have, and like he eats garbage, whatever, and all that. I gained so much respect for him watching him up close last year, and how hard he plays and how intelligent he is out on the ice. And like in the playoff run last year, there was a goal, I think against the Winnipeg Jets, where he set up Eric Stahl, and he set him up basically by skating face first into Logan Stanley's elbow. Like Stanley just dropped on him like a freaking professional wrestler off the top rope. Like Randy Savage elbow drop in his face, like broke his nose. And in doing that, he like slid the puck across the crease to a wide open Eric Stahl and scored a goal. And it was amazing. It's like, that's Corey Perry in a nutshell, that he's not only intelligent enough to see that play, but willing to kill himself for it, for his team. So I have a ton of respect for Corey Perry. So as much as it's funny, I would be a little bit sad for him to watch him lose.
I would feel for him
year in a row.
Yeah, it takes a lot for me to feel bad for Corey Perry, but we're getting there.
I was gonna say in this market specifically, it's there you'll find 0 people in this city feeling bad. But from a pure hockey standpoint, yes, I would feel bad for him. Who I won't feel bad for is Patrick Maroon, who would be coasting to yet a 4th consecutive Stanley Cup. Anyway, that's
what was it? Elliot on Pat McAfee, or Maroon would have as many cups as Wayne Gretzky if he won this one. Like that would be. There's just some weird balance.
Those two names should never ever be in the same sentence,
right? Unless the word "not" is thrown in there somewhere. Right. Those two shouldn't be compared in any way. But yeah, like I mean, we've discussed the key tonight for Corey Perry. He just needs to sign with the Leafs and then go somewhere else, and he'll win a Stanley Cup that way. Boy, that seemed unnecessary. But I mean. To look at, not to turn this into the Corey Perry hour, but just like to see the value of him. We talk all the time about all of the talent that Tampa Bay has. Dude's on power play unit numero uno, and like all of that talent, and he's out there. He's that dude. It's been great to see. And as much as like we knock on Maroon, I think that 4th line has been pretty good. And that's another thing I keep coming back to in this series is like the depth guys for Tampa Bay. Kaloran hasn't scored since I was like 20. But aside from that, like their depth guys have been playing well. Defensively, I just talked about, they're doing great. Hedman was a 1-man wrecking crew. Vasilevsky had a couple games where he wasn't phenomenal, but other than that, he's been great. Tampa Bay is playing very, very well. And they still find themselves down 3-1 going on the road against Colorado. Like I just keep coming back to how crazy this is, how good Colorado is, because Tampa Bay is not playing bad. It's just Colorado's better. It's crazy to watch.
100%. And like it tells you like 100% healthy Tampa Bay, not necessarily in terms of like no injuries, because Colorado has injuries as well. You know, Girard's gone, Kadri's not 100%. There's probably 100 other injuries that we don't know about for both teams. But just like a team, if this was the 2020 Tampa Bay Lightning with Stamkos, because they didn't have Stamkos that year, I feel like this series would be even tighter, right? Yeah. I don't know if Colorado would win, but I wish we could see it. Because as great as this series is, I do think the Lightning this whole playoff run have been a little bit exhausted. There have been times where they just don't seem to be quite themselves, and they have to kind of revert to a very tight defensive structure as opposed to more of the freewheeling Tampa Bay Lightning that won the last 2 Stanley Cups, that had like that dynamic offense that like you let your guard down for a second and they score 5 goals on you. We've seen a bit of that, but not a lot in these playoffs. If we saw that against this Colorado team, it'd probably be the best series of the last like 35 years.
Yeah, that is my main takeaway from this whole series. All due respect, the Montreal run, it's great, and the fans were awesome, and all of that, and like the Dallas Star, golly gee, Anton Khudobin was cute and all, but I'm good for the next little while with, oh, what a miraculous run this was. I want 2 teams in the Stanley Cup final where one of them is going to be super pissed off that they lost, and it's going to be considered a disappointment. That I am done with Cinderella. I'm done with the gosh golly gee stories. I want the 2 best teams playing for that big shiny thing, because this has been phenomenal. And you're right. Like if this was just a video game and like stamina bars completely filled up, I think this would be an incredible series. And it does kind of feel, to bring it back to a world that I'm comfortable with, combat sports, it feels like Tampa Bay for a bit has kind of known when to take rounds off. Like there was a game against Toronto where it just kind of felt like, okay, we don't have it. They can go have their fun and we'll get them in the next one. And they're never rattled by losing 7-0 on the opponent's ice, because, okay, we'll get them in the next one. And it feels like you can't do that against this Colorado team. Like even rested, getting off of the stool, Auddie, it feels like this Tampa Bay team just doesn't quite have it against Colorado here.
Well, yeah, and you can't make the smallest mistake against this Avalanche team, or take the silliest of penalties, because they'll make you pay. So it's I think it's different than any other series that they've or any team they've played up until this point to get to this series. So a little different there, but yeah, I do get what you're saying about the whole taking a round off kind of thing. That makes some good sense here. I'm going to quickly go to chat, because there's been some good ones coming in. Robert ran a poll for will the Avalanche win on Friday? 91 votes, 89% say yes.
That seems low, honestly.
We have a comment that says 91 votes in the poll. Nazem Kadri wears number 91. He's winning the cup on Friday, confirmed. That's a great comment there. Vasilevsky can get them back in the series if he goes ham. Do you think that he could put this team on? He can go Carey Price last year and put the team on his back here.
What more can he do than tonight?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
this was pretty ham.
He was phenomenal.
He was making 10 bell saves, like it seemed like all night. I don't know. I don't think there's much more he can do.
Yeah,
he was great, and then there were some posts. Teammates. Totally he does. Yeah,
like Kucherov, I know he's injured, but he's got to score. I know a commenter pointed out he hasn't scored yet. Also, something else in the chat that one of our loyal watchers was pointing out: there's over 200 people in here. Not enough likes on the video, so make sure you like this video. Please subscribe to SDPN Sports, because it helps us. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of comments too about the penalties and how nothing was called in the third period and overtime. And I get that, but like to kind of bring it back, because we talked about it a bit before too. I do agree with you, Peter, wholeheartedly that they need to call the rule book, and there's some things you let go, but there are rules in place for a reason. The only thing that I think I'm okay with tonight is that it went both ways. I think that both teams got away with kind of the same amount of crap. It wasn't like it was heavily favored towards Colorado, unless you guys saw it differently. I don't think it was really one-sided. They were letting a lot go, which I think, if you're going to let stuff slide, you kind of have to do it that way.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, the Lightning are probably better off with it being a letting it go situation.
Oh, for sure.
Number one, I feel like the Lightning commit more infractions. They're a bit of like they're that savvy cheater team. And also, I would not want to tempt the Colorado power play.
No. Yeah, there was that one, like Kadri hauled down on basically a 2-on-0, and no call on that one. That's one. But then Hedman got his legs taken out. I want the obvious things called, like the one where Landeskog got his stick in on the hands of Paul. If you call that in overtime, I would get upset. So I understand I'm being very hypocritical here, but I just, like, at my last job, I couldn't just go on a swear-filled rampage on the radio airwaves of Calgary, and then they would be saying, "Oh, Sportsnet 960, they're just letting the boys talk." Like that's not how the world works. Like, so it seems weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I had a comment, but I'll just keep that to myself.
I mean, we can swear here at least.
That's true.
Nobody's going to report us, I don't think. But
I hope not. I hope not. Otherwise, our last game over Calgary would have been probably removed off YouTube by now. That was a bad
that's
one.
right. I remember before we started that show.
Are we allowed to curse?
Can we swear?
What words can we say?
2 goals in off of legs tonight too. Just pointing that out.
Yes. Of course.
Was the McKinnon goal not a kick?
It's
By
not
the
kicking
NHL
now.
standards.
It's not.
Is that not a
now.
kick?
Right. It was kicking a month ago.
Funny how that works, eh? We'll leave it there. I'm not salty.
No, not at all. Definitely not bitter. No bitterness at all.
No, zero.
Someone was asking how good does Lehkonen look on the first unit power play? I mean, great. Surrounded by that much talent, it just works really well. They put him in the perfect spot, right? He's the guy who gets the puck, distributes it, wins puck battles, creates some chaos. He's perfect. That's what I like about talented teams, like smart teams. They can take players who have elite skills but aren't elite players and insulate them in the right situation and make them look amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the best teams do. And the chat is just getting attacked constantly by bots. Robert is on top of it, but I'm trying to delete him too. It's ridiculous. But for all those enjoying, ignore the bots.
Yes.
Yeah. And all the bots, if you could throw us a like before we delete you, that would be, that would be nice.
Like and subscribe at least before you inundate us with your spam.
Yeah, that's my mustache. It brings it out. No, like it's you're right. Like just guys getting placed in perfect spots. Also, you said something before. I completely forgot Girard is just not playing in this series.
Yeah.
Like Colorado, excellent defensive team. Everyone's playing well. And oh yeah, by the way, one of their good young defensemen just not playing. Bo Byram is playing in high leverage situations for the first time in his life.
He's playing great though. I think
he's been phenomenal.
Hasn't he though?
He's been so good. Oh, he's been great.
Such a great story.
For a guy who was in talks of, will this guy ever pan out earlier this year, and now he's stepping up when it matters most. I love it.
Well, he was considering hanging up his skates with all the concussion issues, right? Like Peter Ball at The Athletic had a phenomenal article earlier in the year before he got concussed this year when he was coming back from post-concussion issues, and like his family was thinking about like trying to convince him it's not worth it. Like you've got your whole life ahead of you. It was very much in question whether or not he would ever play again, ever meet the potential that so many people saw in him when he was drafted. And now, man, he might already be better than he was expected to be. Like he is sick.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. And like you said, the story, it writes itself, and it's a fun one to watch because you always want to root for those guys.
Yeah.
Right. Regardless of your allegiances, you root for those guys.
A couple more before we let Andrew get to bed, since it's now a new day where he is. Again, Mountain Time Zone once again. It's only 10:18. The sun hasn't.
I also have to watch Kenobi.
Oh right, yes. Sorry,
True.
yeah. And I have wrestling to watch, but as it feels like we don't have many more opportunities for people to win these. In terms of the Conn Smythe, it seemed like it was between Makar and McKinnon. Do we have a vote from either of you yet?
You go first, Andrew. I'm still thinking.
I lean Makar between those two as much as like I liked McKinnon's game tonight. I feel like I have to give a shout out to Nikushkin though. Like he's just been so good down the stretch. If anybody is going to threaten it between those guys, I think it could be Nikushkin.
It's like the year that. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like the year the Penguins won the Cup, and it clearly should have been Kessel, but it was Crosby, right?
See, I push back on that because everyone. That's a Leafs thing, a Leafs fan thing. They push that theory because of points. Kessel was on the third line. He was facing
HBK,
third line.
babe.
Yeah,
Come
on.
on.
Name though. How dare you?
Playing third line matchups. Never saw a top defense pairing the whole way. Crosby's playing top line minutes, shutting everybody down, doing all the hard stuff. And I think Kessel had like 2 more points than him that year.
I don't even hate it because I'm a huge Crosby fan. Like I that man can do no wrong.
No, he's great.
But yeah, no, I would throw Nikushkin an honorable mention.
Confidently.
Yeah, I try my best. I would give him an honorable mention, but I think it's got to go to Makar for me. Yeah. It's the obvious choice, but he definitely is up there. He's making a case for himself because he is just a a treat to watch.
Yeah, like that would definitely be the Andre Iguodala Finals MVP of the Golden State run, where it's like, wait, what? But like when you look back on it, like even 6 years, I can tell you that looks weird as hell, and it would definitely look. But he has been he was the best player in overtime tonight, aside from the post that got hit a couple of times. Like he was the best player out there for Colorado, and he has been on a number of occasions. I would suggest some of that is helped out by some of his line mates or whatever, but he himself has been excellent. Last one, and this is a weird one. Obviously, Landeskog is going to be the first to hoist the Stanley Cup. Colorado has a fairly famous moment with this, where captain then hands it off to the guy who's been like waiting for it for forever, and that seems to be kind of a thing. I'm assuming McKinnon gets it second, but you could make a pretty good case for both Byram and Kadri. As like for like Bowen Byram, obviously a lot he has gone through, as we discussed. Kadri survived the Leafs. It feels like those are a couple of guys who could get kind of that like
a veteran.
Yeah, it feels like those could be a couple of those guys who are like the man, they finally did it. Let's get them the cup early on. I know these are weird things that maybe only I pay attention to, but that's something that I may be looking for when we were looking at this game a couple of days from now.
No, I thought about it too. Like I've been thinking about it ever since they have gone on this run, because like you mentioned the whole Bork thing, and that was awesome. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to go. Yeah, I think it's going to be Landeskog. It's going to go McKinnon, and then I'll probably go Kadri, and then I think it's going to go Eric Johnson before it goes Bo Byram. Longest serving Avalanche, if I'm not mistaken, on that roster.
Sense.
So he's been around for a while. So, I think it's, but you're not crazy for thinking about it, because I constantly think about how that's going to be, and it's just useless crap going through my head. But yeah.
Don't sleep on Andrew Cogliano either, because he's the graybeard they acquired that hasn't won, right? Yeah, that's like the one ingredient that everyone forgets about on a Stanley Cup championship team. You have to have the old guy who hasn't won. That you got to win it for that old guy.
Yeah, and I guess we're a few years away from Corey Perry being that old guy who can finally break.
He already won.
He's won though.
Oh, he has won. I mean,
it was a while ago.
He was there.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I keep forgetting that because when you think of that team, you don't think Perry gets first. It's 07. Pronger, Niedermayer, 07. Yeah,
right.
So yes, I apologize. I forgot about that cup final that happened a decade and a half ago that Corey Perry existed in. Anything else from the chat before we head out, aside from bots?
No, people kind of chiming in about who's going to get the cup next. Cogliano, good comment there. Someone says Helm, he's also already won. But true, yeah, I guess. And then Makar will get the Conn Smythe. It's kind of dying down, but people are chiming in about Conn Smythe and the cup handoff order. So might be a good time to send it.
Yeah. I asked Twitter if the Lightning could win another game, and I got a reply of Vince Carter doing the "It's over."
Yeah, so, a classic gif.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and it applies to the show as well, as that's going to do it for Game Over Cup Final here for Game 4. Game 5, probably going to be the last one, but you can catch it right back here. And like Andrew said, give us a like, subscribe. It helps. We were fantastic tonight. I think we've earned it. Yes, thank you all so much for tuning in, for chatting, for being a real person in the chat. We greatly appreciate that.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you, Robert.
There is no debate who our Conn Smythe Trophy winner is.
No, he's killing it every single time.
And always Robert.
It's really it's the SDPN Conn Smythe, Robert. I don't know when Robert sleeps, but it's not at human hours.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Robert does sleep. I can't confirm this. All right, I'm Peter. He's Auddie. He's Andrew. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and check back here for Game 5's Game Over Cup.